solo car review. This wasn't something I planned out ahead of time. I got done work a little bit early and I saw what was playing in the area. I'm going to see Superman tomorrow night, and I didn't know what else to do with myself. And I noticed that the Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou was playing at the Emmaus Theater, which is about 20 minutes away from my house. And I haven't seen this movie in a really, really long time. This is my favorite Wes Anderson movie. I've kind of fallen out of love with his stuff. While I enjoyed, The French Dispatch and the Grand Budapest Hotel and stuff like that, I just found that his style had almost gotten to the point where it was like Tim Burton-y, where it, like, the style overlaid the substance, and it kind of became a distance from, the movies that I first fell in love with. I saw Rushmore in the 6th grade at a sleepover at my friend at the time, Cameron Nazel's house, and I instantly fell in love with it. It was like a light went off in my head. Max in that movie was so much me that I couldn't not, like, gravitate towards it, and the soundtrack was incredible. I was literally just talking about it a couple months ago. I was seeing this girl, and one of the songs from the Rushmore soundtrack was on the thing for the place that she works at, and I was like, oh my god, you can listen to the Rushmore soundtrack. So she was listening to that for like a whole week driving around, so yeah, that was a nice little memory. That person doesn't talk to me anymore, but that's okay. Yeah, and then from that, Bottle Rocket, and then obviously I remember the Royal Tenenbaums came out when I was working at AMC, and I was a projection manager, and I remember putting the trailer on a bunch of movies because I thought it was like so cool that there was a new Wes Anderson movie coming out. Apparently people don't like this movie. A lot of the stuff that I had read over the years, people saying it's too kitschy, it's too fake looking, and this movie, sort of like, I for some odd reason, I equate this movie and Star Trek 2 to each other. They're the kind of movies you look at very differently as you get older. Steve Zissou is this, I think this is the most Bill Murray part. It is a perfect combination of the deadpan Peter Venkman type character, and then the kind of more somber character you would get in a Sofia Coppola or Jim Jarmusch type of movie from him. He plays this arrogant jerk, but the superficial elements that people talk about is kind of the point of the movie. I look at it as the way of, like, it's, I don't know, it's Moby Dick. I mean, it's Moby Dick. It's Moby Dick mixed with, like, The Great Gatsby, though. Kind of the same way that I look at Rushmore and the Royal Tenenbaums as being very J.D. Salinger inspired pieces. And this one, its style, I feel, is so overt and colorful and different, but there is a lot of substance there. I still get choked up at 2 points in this movie each time I see it, and it never fails to break my heart. Steve Zissou is this former adventurer, documentary filmmaker, and he's at this point in his life where none of his films are successful. His mentor was eaten by a shark, maybe, we don't know. And he finds out that he may or may not have a son. His wife, Angelica Houston, in the movie, has left him, or has fallen out of love with him. His crew doesn't trust him anymore. It's this guy who has to keep up this facade of the colorful adventurer, Jacques Cousteau, Captain Ahab type character. So all of the trappings of the colors and the Mark Mothersbaugh score and the Henry Selick, who did Nightmare Before Christmas, stop motion animation, that's all the covering. And all of the doubt and grief and loss is the shark. And it's this thing that is under the surface, and we don't quite get a look at it, but we know that it's the monster, And I love, he's like, blow it up with dynamite. And he's like, what would be the scientific reason? And he's like, revenge. There's so many good lines in this movie. You got Bud Cort pops up in this movie from Harold and Maude. Owen Wilson plays his possibly son. Angelica Houston. You have Kate Blanchett in it. There's all these great characters, and how everyone kind of relates to him are people who used to admire him and now kind of pity him, or people who've just like, they just feel sorry for him at this point in his life, or people who want to connect to him, but they realize that he was a shitty person for a long time. You have all these misadventures and everything. Oh, Jeff Goldblum is great in it. He's half a fag. And he's like, apparently everybody is. He's just like very Jeff Goldblum-y in this movie. You've got great, Portuguese covers of David Bowie songs, which I love. But you have great use of music by, you got Seek and Destroy by the Iggy Pop and the Stooges. You've got the Zombies doing a song on it in like the saddest part of the entire movie. This beautiful, oceanographical, if that's even a word, adventure set, out in the, in like Malta or Greece or, somewhere very exotic. And you have this like, world that is filled with these characters who speak in very Wes Anderson terms, and very, there's people named Esteban and Lord Mandrake and all this kind of stuff. But then you have lines that are very like down to earth, where Jane is Kate Blanchett's character. She's pregnant, and they're up on the hot air balloon, and she takes his drink, and she drinks it. He's like, you really think you should be hitting the sauce while you got a bun in the oven? Little lines like that I just absolutely love. I love Willem Dafoe as the German man-child Klaus. There's just so much about this movie that I absolutely love, but when it comes right down to it, is the broad, big, wild stuff, with the they get attacked by pirates, and they got to go and get their Bond stooge back, but in a shootout in this old abandoned Caribbean style like hotel. There's all this crazy stuff, but you have to go through all of the kind of wild things that I think a lot of people didn't like in order to get to the heart of this thing. And the heart of this thing is this guy who's basically surrounds himself with trying to be what he thinks people think he should be, and he's just a sad old man living in the past now, wondering why things aren't the way they used to be. And and when you finally do get to Ned, his son, spoiler alert, dies in a helicopter crash after this big fun adventure scene, and you go like, oh right, yeah, like this is life, man. Like it's weird and stupid to say that, but like you take like the highest highs can go to the lowest lows, and life doesn't give a fuck. Life will throw something shitty at you and not going to give you time to breathe. Something shitty's going to come along right after that, and it's how do we deal with it? And that's what I love so much about this movie is just the idea as I get older, coming to terms with all of my mistakes and all of the, when you're done, like, no matter how much you love people and whatever, everybody's going to go away at some point. And I think about the people who I used to love the most who are gone now, and how do they think about me now? And he has a line when they finally do see the shark and everyone's down in the submarine together, and he says, I wonder if it remembers me, and he starts crying, and everyone kind of reaches in and touches him, and in that moment, that's the catharsis of it all. He's facing all of the shit. All of the shit that led him to that point, of all the bad, all the doubt, all the grief, all the loss, all the shame. But the people who were there with him at that moment, they see him, they see this thing was real, and they realize why they loved him, why they followed him. And that scene is just so fucking beautiful. And it gets me every single time I see it. It's just like so powerful and cathartic, and yeah, you get the stop motion shark and all that kind of stuff, and I could see how people would look at it and think it was silly, but like in that moment, me now as a 43-year-old man looking at it and looking back on all of the mistakes that I've made and bridges that I burned and you know, and then seeing who's still here, you know, that's what's important, and that's what's powerful, and that's, you know. But I'm still the same thing, man. I'm Captain Ahab, you know. I'm I'm out there trying to harpoon my white whale, not in a racist way. But yeah, this is my favorite Wes Anderson movie. This was very much one where I think that the style and the substance work together in such a whimsical way, but it's also very real and very heartbreaking at a lot of times, and that's why I just, you know. And then I think about this movie on how back in 2004 when it came out, seeing it at that point in my life with the person I saw it with, and then now seeing it again in a theater, and that person's gone now, you know, and it's weird to think about how I viewed the movie then compared to how I view the movie now, with, you know, less years in front of me than I have, you know, behind me. And same thing, you know, the Star Trek 2 thing. It's why, you know, that's why that movie breaks my heart every time I see it, is Kirk looking at the world now as an old man, and seeing, you know, your adventures go on, but sometimes you have to leave others behind, and you know, and the impact that they have on that. That's another hard movie to watch for me sometimes. I know I did a review of Tusk back like 2 or 3 years ago, back when I was really dealing with some shit, and I just break down crying in that review. But yeah, this one, aside from just being a genuinely like fucking funny movie, well-paced movie, a beautifully color-graded movie, again, great score by Mark Mothersbaugh, formerly of Devo, and Bill Murray just being fantastic, you know. I'll never forget when this, my old boss, saw an advanced screening of it, Ryan Ditmars, when I worked at Regal, and I was like, well, how is it? He's like, well, Bill Murray smokes a lot of pot, and there's a lot of Portuguese David Bowie music, and I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm in, you know. Yeah, Angelica Houston's so wonderful in it. It's just a great fucking cast of weirdo characters that all seem to fit together. You know, he says, he's like, we're a pack of strays. He's like, you know, Wolodarski was a bus driver. You know, nobody has a real background in oceanography. Yeah, it's a beautiful movie. It's absolutely a beautiful movie. It's one that, if you've never seen it before, I'd love to get what you think of it. I didn't see his newest movie, and then the one before that, the Asteroid City one, I felt that was far too stylized for me. It has some cool stuff in it, but for the most part, I just thought it was too stilted. Whereas this one, the kind of more deadpan stuff, works a lot better in the you know, the course of the story and in the relationships of these characters. Plus, it was great to see Bud Cort in anything. You know, he's like, when Jeff Goldblum's like, "Is this my coffee machine? How'd you guys get my coffee machine?" He's like, "We fucking stole it, dude." You know. No, this is such a great fucking movie, and I laughed really hard at this. Again, I haven't seen it in a long time, but it is my favorite of Wes Anderson's movies. But if you ever get a chance, go back and oddly enough, the very first review I ever did for YouTube back in 2007 was the Jeering Limited. 2006, 2007, yeah, it was the very first review I ever did for YouTube. So, yeah, very different Newt. If I look at the review then to now, it's a very different person. Life has been interesting. But, like Bill Murray says, this is an adventure, you know? And, unfortunately, sometimes all the roadmaps of all the scars and shit all amassed to one thing, but trying to look at the good side of things and the people who are still here and the positives of what we can take away from the negative. And it doesn't always work because I'm a clinically depressed person, but I'm really glad I saw this tonight on the big screen, and I'm really glad that it still affects me all these years later. I'll just remember Blockbuster Video used to do like $5 DVDs, like pre-watched DVDs, and I remember getting this one, and I was living down the Jersey Shore in 2006 when it was Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Anaheim Ducks and or 2007, yeah, or was it Sixers? It was one of the two. The Ottawa Senators and the Ducks. And I was with my friend, this girl Stephanie O'Shea, that now lives in Portland. And it's the first time I ever got drunk. And we watched this movie on DVD in the living room, my beach house down there, and we got to the part where Ned dies, and she's just bawling her eyes out, and she didn't expect the movie to take that kind of turn. And I was like, all right, good, it wasn't just me who felt that way, because you go on this kind of zany adventure, and then you get to these like hard emotional scenes, and it works. It's, you know, they've built up that thing where these characters are quirky and weird and Wes Anderson-y enough, but there is a heart to it, and there's a reason behind all of it. Yeah, so that's it. That's all I got for today. It's me waxing poetic about the Life Aquatic, Wes Anderson movie that apparently a lot of people hate, but I absolutely love. And just watching it again tonight, I just fell in love with it all over again. And that's it. I hate these, like, I haven't done it in a while, these like very introspective style videos, because I've been trying to not think about that kind of stuff. It's like, all right, we have so many other things we need to get done, let's just stick to that. But then there's these times where that shit pops up, and you know, I'm sitting here right now and I'm like, fuck, I wish I could call so-and-so, or I wish, you know, I wish I could still text or message XYZ and see what they're up to, and drop a line from this movie or some other Wes Anderson movie that we used to say to each other and stuff, and, you know, can't. Everybody moves on but me, I think. I think my biggest problem is that I live in the past too much, and I surround myself with my Jaguar shark. And until I learn how to stop doing that and let go of the past, I'm always going to be doomed to repeat it. But I'm getting there. I'm doing a little bit better. You know, I need a red cap and a Speedo so I could be on Team Zizou. All right, guys, have a good one.